We are honoured to have our first returning guest. The man that does everything with his hands, always does his due diligence.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The forward ever, backward never motto icon.
You don't know.
Mr. Diligent Fingers.
Do I move?
You can move if you want to. What is that?
Really good question, Albie. I knew you were going to ask it me. I knew you were going to ask me this question.
I only ask good questions. What are you talking about?
You do. That's why I'm happy to be back. That's why I'm happy to be back. I think.
By the way, this man is like a talented performer. He's not just a rap artist and a vocalist. He's also an actor. Can I just say that as well? Amazing. Thank you, Jimmy.
Yeah, no problem. Thank
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you. I'm so proud. I'm going to say this on camera for everyone. I am so proud of you. Like, the levels that you've gotten to within just this year alone, from the last episodes that we did to now. Like, I am so ridiculously proud of you. I mean...
Thank you. Yo, I think that was as long as the last one.
This is Diligent Fingers, and once again, you're locked into After the Applause.
This is After the Applause. Hiya guys, welcome back to After the Applause with me, Saoirse Marie. If you're new here, hello, welcome, where have you been? This is a podcast highlighting and promoting the grassroots and the underground music scene within the north of England. Now today we have a very honoured guest. He is a multifaceted, multi-talented artist who is the first returning guest to After the Applause. So everyone put your hands together for the Diligent Fingers, and we're just going to get straight into it because this is a long one. Also, if you're listening, watching on YouTube, you may hear a little bit of work going on in the background. We are recording in Renee and people are working around us. But obviously, it doesn't take away from the conversation we're having. Shout out to Renee every time for letting us use the space as well, actually. They've just been so helpful. And shout out to Harriet and Harris, especially. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Also, actually, before we do get into it, I think Maggie Movie and SD got mentioned about 5 times in this episode at least. So if you don't know about Raise the Bar and you're based in Manchester, you really need to get to know. Let's get to it now. We've obviously done our first episode together, and the first question is always the first gig you've been to. But my question for you today, Dilly, is what was the first gig you performed at?
Okay. It's a 2-part, that one as well, actually, to be fair. And that, because obviously I'm a DJ as well. But my first DJ booking was in 2003 for Scene Skate Shop. In Preston and stuff. I was working with one of the owner's friend's brothers as Black Widow Night Fighters. We were like this young sort of experimental alternative hip hop crew, but he knew that I DJ drum and bass and stuff like that, and he was into it as well. Hold tight, Davo, Scene Skate Shop. You know what I mean? And yeah, he just shouted me down. Or, like, for us to like perform some hip hop tracks, but also close out the night with some jungle drum and bass. That was the first time my name was like properly on a flyer that I didn't make and print out on my own printer and stuff like. Yeah, man. And then the first time in terms of like performing hip hop tracks and stuff like that, I think that was. I think it's 2011, maybe 2012, and it was Donnie Danko.
No way.
Me. Yeah, with Bunga High Beats. and that, and I was performing with my friend Ed XL as well. But yeah.
way.
That's why I had that moment, like, oh yeah, that was Donny.
That's crazy. Yeah, because when I did the interview with Donny, and he was talking about some events and stuff that he did, that he went to back in the day, and some of the artists he mentioned, you'd mentioned in your previous interview. So I'm thinking, your paths must have crossed before now.
Yeah, definitely. We first met at a Dope Flop event, and we just got into a cypher outside.
Oh,
And,
mad.
yeah, we've got it on video and everything, and I love it. I love his reaction, because he was like, everyone was just spitting their bars, and I was just there, and he was like, "Oh, all right, mate. What's your name?" And I'm like, "Hi, my name is Diligent Fingers," and just launched into like a planned set of bars that I had. So like that was the first line of like the verse. Do you know what I mean? It was like, yeah, that'd be a cool way to sort of introduce myself, but go straight into rhymes and stuff like that. And instantly we hit it off, because he was just like, "Who are you? What's your name? Like, we need to work on some music. We need to do stuff," and stuff. But yeah, man, known him for a while, man. Do you know what I mean?
That's crazy. I need to see this video.
Yeah, I'll send it to you.
Yeah,
I'll send it to you.
I need to see this. This sounds hilarious at the same time. Speaking of Donny,
Yep.
Donny is part of Spynal Records now, along with Man Like S and Big Jen.
Yeah. And Bootleg Kid.
And
He's
Bootleg
just
Kid.
joined on as well.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Love that. I love that. That makes, okay, I like that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Great addition for sure. So last time we spoke, we had spoken about Spynal Records, and you set it up in 2009. And you were starting to put stuff out with your Forward Motion crew and stuff, but you hadn't, although you've worked with these artists quite a lot over the years, there wasn't like this collective, whereas recently you have become more of like a collective, more of a movement.
Yeah.
So how did that kind of come about?
It was just recognizing, like, especially with Man Like S and like Big Jen and stuff, like we've been working with each other for like nearly a decade now. It will be. We've been working with each other, and especially over the last, like, say 2 years of us really locking in and wanting to get creative ideas and projects out, it just made sense. You know what I mean? To like, one, make them two partners of the label. So they're like partners and co-owners of the label now, and two, to like really hone in and focus on what we're all really passionate about. Like, I love DJing. Like, everyone can see it when I'm DJing. I absolutely adore it. But, and even though I get nervous as hell, like last Friday, I love performing. I love being able to visually put my music out and express it to people. You know what I mean? Like, being so used to being on a stage as a drum and bass MC, where I'm there, I'm in front of people, but I'm a complement to the DJ, or I'm outside conduit, but I'm the conduit between the ravers and the DJ. Do you know what I mean? It's not really me. And I think that was a wake-up call last weekend as well, in terms of stepping out of that comfort zone and going more into my own as like an actual artist and stuff like that. But yeah, it made sense. All we talked about was how we're going to be able to get out and perform these tracks. It's all good making these tracks, it's all good posting it online, but how do we get out and perform? And it's just built up from there. And especially, got to shout out Migraine Mowgli and Esty, my like connection, and then being brought into Raise the Bar like permanently as like a core member. That has really helped to like see how we can do that, how we can break back into that area. After being away from it so long, it's because Big Jen and like Man Like S, they were in their own crew for Hidden Prophecies, and they were at Golden Egg and performing and stuff like that. But then life got involved and things changed. I think all of us are back with that energy and that sort of passion for being on stage again. Just made sense. And then bringing Donny in, bringing Bootleg in again, both performers, both like active like music makers. Again, it made sense. It made sense, man. And it's been great.
You said as well there you're basically a permanent member of RTB now as well.
Yeah.
So having your Spynal Records group and being part of RTB, how has that kind of helped you in your artistry?
Being inspired by so many different artists, again, like going to RTB for the first time was an eye-opener in regards to how much talent, I think I said this in the last interview, but how much talent that actually is in Manchester, not just drum and bass, not just dubstep and 140s, like hip hop, wave, Afrobeat, Afro fusion, do you know what I mean? Seeing people like Danielson, Kingston, do you know what I'm saying? Toxic Scorpio, Migraine Mowgli himself, Iscam, do you know what I mean? Like L, all of these people have got so many different styles. Prophet Z, I've got to shout her around. Prophet Z, she's sick. Do you know what I mean? So many people and that, like J-Rad Broccoli. There's so many different.
So much diversity as well.
Like across the board, it's not just one sound, it's not just one style, it's not just one aesthetic as well. Like so many people are bringing their own individual flavors to the table, and it opened it up again from being in drum and bass and that being like the thing that I'm known for, and that having sort of a rigid sort of community, and you can only be in these subgenres, do you know what I'm saying? And you can almost like you can only do one thing for people to really latch on and take you seriously. Being at Raise the Bar and just seeing that diversity is still a big thing in Manchester, yeah, it gave me a lot of inspiration, man. You know what I mean? And it's put me in places that I never would have been in before, like DJing at a gaming fashion show convention, or going to Liverpool and DJing on a makeshift beach. Do you know what I mean? Hold tight Savage, hold tight Queen Savage. Do you know what I'm saying? Hold tight Jaya as well. Next gen, like networking events. Do you know what I mean? And things like that, and then meeting up with longtime friend Mr. Zip. Do you know what I'm saying? At Next Gen, who had been on Britain's Got Talent and stuff like that, and he used to teach us as kids how to dance and things like that.
I remember you telling me that story last time.
Yeah,
crazy.
man. That's it. Just be seeing all these people this year as well. First time main stage at Manchester Moss Side Carnival as well. Like always wanted to do that, but I never thought it would happen because I was so in drum and bass. Like you're never going to see that on main stage at Manchester Carnival because it's not what Carnival is about. Do you know what I mean? So to be on stage with Broken English in Kingston and supporting and DJing for him, it's amazing, man. It's amazing. So I've got a big up Migraine Mowgli and Esty, man. Like they've given me a lot of opportunities, man. Definitely.
With Spynal Records, you've also started doing events under Motion.
Mm-hmm.
And what is your kind of purpose with these events? What are you trying to elevate in the scene?
Initially, it was to bring sort of the drum and bass world and the hip hop sort of 140 world together. Like they can't be just me who loves all of these music genres. Do you know what I mean? I've done it before where I've put on drum and bass events, but I've put on Four Hidden Prophecies, I've put on Big Jen, Man Like S, JJ Pabs, Mr. O, and they've smashed it. Like people have really enjoyed it. So for me, it was like there's a niche there. There's someone just needs to really like take the plunge with it and push it and go forward. Will admit, struggling with that a little bit in terms of venues, wanting to accommodate having live acts like at first and then getting into DJing afterwards, but also finding the audience that are there for it as well. Do you know what I mean? And that there's been some rocky roads with it, but again, we're trying to pull together this kind of like concept. It's going to take some time. It's going to take some time. But yeah, initially it's to bring those worlds together. I'm kind of bored of events that are just one thing all the time. I'm bored of it. Like I grew up going to raves where one room was this, another room was that, and then or you would have DJs that would bring all of those styles together and make it work and take you on a journey. I think we've gotten a little bit lazy when it comes to like the type of events that we put on. I'll say it. A little bit lazy. Yeah, that was the aim for it. And again, shout to Raise the Bar. Do you know what I mean? For again accommodating different styles and flavors into one night. It can be done, and they're proof of it. Do you know what I mean? And it doesn't need to always be big names, celebrity names, and not smashing it all the time. People are there willing to see new music and new artists all the time, and so it can be done.
Let's talk about the war within.
Yeah.
last time we did this interview, you made a comment on how a teacher once told you that you should just listen to everything because, you know, you might not like the music, but you might take certain elements from those songs to use within your music. And I feel like when I've listened to The War Within, I mean, I've said this to you already, that you have shown your different styles and the diversity within your artistry anyway. So was there kind of any specific tracks or genres or styles that influenced the music in your album?
No, not really. It was always a concept. It was always an idea based on like what I was going through at the time, the life I was living, and the experiences that I was going through at the time. And in my mind, it was always a case of this album was always going to be multi-genre. Do you know what I mean? Because there's certain genres that work well towards certain topics that you want to talk about. So like, say like Here Alone, for instance, I don't think that would work that well on a drum and bass beat. Do you know what I mean? But a lo-fi, sort of neo-soul-y hip-hop beat, definitely that would work. Like Feelings of Frustration work a lot more on, say, harder hip-hop beats or grime. Do you know what I mean? And things like that. You know, or even drum and bass, but particular like subgenres of drum and bass. And also, it's all part of the journey as well. Like, I don't think Blossoms would work so well if it was on a different beat to what it's on now. Do you know what I mean? So
the vocals, when I first heard Blossom, because that's the first track on the album where your vocals come in, and I was listening and I genuinely like paused where I was and was like, this man can sing, you know? This man can sing too.
Yeah, man.
Really multifaceted. Sorry, carry on.
No. That's part of it as well. Like through listening to a lot of neo soul, Motown, R&B, and like New Jack Swing, all of these things that experiment with harmonies and vocals and melodies. That was always going to be a part of it as well. Like I've got to sing. Like I know I'm not the best singer in the world. I know, but I can harmonize and given some time and some practice to like make sure I can hold the notes. Do you know what I mean? I can get it down. I can do a good job. You know, I feel like I did a great job. But again, it's taking in those elements that I know I'm not the strongest at, but I can work toward getting them the best that they can be from these different influences that I've got. It wasn't going to be any other way, really. It'd have to be a multi-genre album and stuff. And I feel like if I had my way, I would want to add more tracks.
This, I'm going to say project, feels like it's been long-standing. How come it's taken you this long, I guess, to create it?
For the type of project that it was, because when I got the idea for it was when I really started like honing in on mental health, things like that. So I wasn't actually going to counselling or anything like that at the time. But because I've got aunties that suffer with severe mental health issues, because you know, watching what my mum and my sisters were going through in terms of the life experiences that they had, and then recognising them things in myself, like something's not right. Like, I know I've got depression, and then getting diagnosed with it fully, you know what I mean, around that time. It was like, right, okay, there's a war going on outside, but I know from experience there's an inner conflict in me. I don't understand it fully quite yet, but there's an inner conflict with me. And I'm going to beat this, you know what I mean? I am going to win this war and stuff, but I need to live life. I need to go through these experiences to be able to write them genuinely. Do you know what I mean? And stuff. So I think even now, I don't think I've really touched on many of those aspects, even in this album. So that's why it's going to be a 4-part series.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like the next album is going to be Aftermath. Then after that, it's going to be Settle and stuff. And these are going to be sort of more leading into, okay, I'm getting to where I really want to be, and then now, maybe not necessarily happy. I'm happy at that point of Settle, and that. But talking about like actually being happy, what it means. Do you know what I mean? What it means to know that you've gone on this journey and actually gotten to where you actually want to get to and achieved what you actually want to achieve. I'm not there yet, but I've won the war. Now I'm dealing with the aftermath. Do you know what I'm saying?
Healing, kind of.
Yeah, aftermath is healing. Do you know what I mean? And then not necessarily settle being at the point of being fully healed, but having so much more of a greater understanding of yourself that you allow yourself to settle. You allow yourself to have those down days, have those off days, those moments of self-care. You allow yourself to let things in that you wouldn't before. Do you know what I mean? Because you're a lot more prepared. So it's that journey of self-consciousness, mental health and stuff like that. And even there, that was like, that's the catalyst of all of this. And then War and Peace was like an accident, but a good accident and a good opener to the series. But yeah, man, it was always, War Within was always based on the idea of all of us have these inner conflicts. All of us fight these like personal battles that nobody really sees. Do you know what I mean? And the more we're able to talk about these things and be open about these things, and especially if it's in a creative way as artists, that's our job, you know, then the better. The more people can relate, the more people can feel like they're not alone. You know what I mean? And the biggest thing that I will always say that is valuable to anybody, whether you've got mental health or not, is understanding. Knowing that you have someone that truly understands you or is willing to take the time to understand you is so valuable and can help you so much. So
that kind of leads into the next question I wanted to ask you about, like, mental health and being open like this on your album. I've known you for a while now, and you are such like a bubbly, positive person and such a great energy to be around. And listening to this album and hearing the inner battles that you deal with that are quite relatable, but again, it's not what you show on the surface.
yeah,
That is a very vulnerable side of you that you're showing to people through your music. And like you said, it's good to have creative people that are able to show that vulnerable side to people, to show people that you can relate to them and they're not alone and stuff. But
yeah.
how did that feel, putting that sort of music out there and allowing people to see this more vulnerable side of you?
I'll be honest, it was easier this time because I'd already put out what I thought would be the worst of it. And that, so I think it was 2017, I put out a mixtape called Black. It was all like Lil Wayne beats. Do you know what I mean? None of it was produced by me, but the whole concept was put together by me. It was one of those projects where I'm gonna be as real as I possibly can and just get out everything. You know what I mean? Whether it hurts anybody or not, I just want to get all of this out, close this chapter and move on from it. And that really helped. It was such a moment of catharsis for me. Do you know what I mean? It was such a moment of release. So when it came to this one, as much as I feel like some of those tracks that were on Black should have been on here to sort of explain the battle a lot more, it did end up making it a lot easier and giving me a lot more confidence to put something like this out and not feel like I'm telling too much or I'm giving too much of myself away or I'm giving people ammunition to, do you know what I mean, ridicule me or anything like that. Especially with tracks like Crooked Teeth, you know, to start it off knowing that, you know, my teeth are mash up, I'll say it. Do you know what I mean? I'll say it. Like, I've been through some stuff. There's been some like grinding teeth, nightmare nights and stuff like that. Like, it's real, you know? But it was like, to be able to put that track out there, put in all of my flaws, almost like to sort of give a famous comparison, an Eminem 8 Mile moment where I'm going to pour out all the things wrong with me before you can. Do you know what I mean? And then you can't hurt me anymore and stuff like things like that, where you're at a point of knowing yourself and being so sure of yourself that these things can't hurt you, to put those things out there for other people to be able to relate to and find some sort of, you know, relief. Do you know what I mean? Through, yeah, it's important. It's important, and it's important for us to get past that fear of putting ourselves out there in such a way. Do you know what I mean? Because the feedback that you get back and the gratitude and the support that you get back as a result is so much more than holding yourself back by these same insecurities. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, man, it was a lot easier this time than last time.
What have you kind of learned about yourself from the whole process of creating The War Within?
I think the biggest thing that I've learned from finishing, I'll say definitely finishing this album, is as much as I say I won the war, there's still a lot of things that I need to work on. You know what I mean? There's still a lot of things that I need to work on, and it's another chapter that I'm closing, you know? But in terms of what I've really learned from myself, hold tight, Donnie Danko, I need to get myself organised. I really do need to get myself organised. And that, like, oh my God, it's great to like have it like put out, but the panic that sets in when it gets closer to like, no, I've set this deadline. Let's do this now. Like I've made it known to everyone. Let's get this finished. I didn't want to finish the album 3 weeks before, 3 weeks before like release date, but oh my God, my time management is horrible. It's so bad. So definitely with the next album, even with all of the like post, like pre and post like promo and things like that, there's so many things I need to like tighten up on, be a little more disciplined with, and just learn to say no more to like other people and not put so much on yourself, especially when it's coming up to like crunch time moments like this. So yeah.
Your album release party you did the other weekend.
Yeah.
You put out a video saying you were nervous, and you were a bit nervous before you performed. You know, you've been performing for a while, like over 10 years. How come you still get the nerves?
I think at this point, it depends on what it is that you're doing. With this one, it was because it was such a personal like project, and I was being so vulnerable with it. And you always get those moments of, even though we know comparison is the thief of joy, you always get those moments where you compare yourself to other people and compare your bodies of work to other people's bodies of work. Like now, main reason why I was nervous was because at a time where there's so much sort of negativity and like just in the world in general, and people are struggling on all sides, do you know what I mean? And stuff like, is it a good time to put something like this out when I'm surrounded by everyone else who's, I won't say putting out escapism music, but a lot more upbeat and happy music, trying to trying to put more of that out into the world. And yeah, I got really nervous in terms of how people would take this in, if there's enough people that are like willing to take the time to like sort of break this kind of album down. Do you know what I mean? It's always things like that, you know. Normally, when it comes to drum and bass, like raves, it's always like, oh, am I going to get this mix wrong? Or, you know, am I going to slur these words and stuff, especially like when I was taking antidepressants and things like that, that really like sort of got to me. And there's a little bit of residue from that even now. It's always things like that, but with this project, it was more, I'm really coming out of like my drum and bass safety net, do you know what I mean? And really putting myself, after everything, after all of this time, I'm really putting myself out there as a multi-genre artist above everything else. And just that whole thing, yeah, it's a new experience for me, most definitely.
My final question is to do with the War Within. What is your main purpose with the album? What's the kind of main message you want people to understand about you, but about the album really? What do you want people to get from it?
From the album in regards to about me, it's just, I'm a human just like everybody else. And don't put me on a pedestal. I make mistakes just like everybody else. I can say the wrong things. I can, you know, have clouded judgment and stuff like that. And I'm fighting, you know, to get myself to the best version of myself I could possibly be. And then in terms of for everybody else, yeah, man, I'm just like you. You're not alone. you're not alone, man. I've got mash up teeth. I've been single for 10 years. I've got confidence issues. Do you know what I mean? And that, you know, Saoirse tells me sometimes that I need to wash.
Whoa,
Do you know what I mean?
now.
Like, you know.
That was one time. That was one time.
And she was joking. She didn't actually mean it. She was joking. She was joking. Or was she? Wow.
I was joking. I was joking. I promise.
Well, yeah, but nah, we're all trying to do our best in this world, man. We're all fighting our personal battles. We're all in the trenches, and we can get out of it. We can win these wars. We deserve a happier life, and we can get there. We've just got to fight for it. That's it.
So is the album going to be out on all streaming platforms?
Yes, it is, as well as vinyl and CD. The vinyl will come with a lyric booklet as well. So it'll be and stuff like, yeah.
I'm going to get vinyl.
Yeah.
Obviously, as always, I have so many notes on this interview and stuff to discuss further. However, it was really difficult because this interview was a lot longer than I've got there, but I had to cut it down, obviously, so I'm not going to talk too much and go too much into the notes that I have. But there was a couple of things that did kind of stick out for me. So when Diligent was talking about Spynal Records and the collective he's kind of created within Spynal Records, including Big Jen, Man Like S, Donnie Danko, and now new founding member Bootleg Kid. It's quite interesting to hear, obviously they've been in the game for a while. It would be interesting to hear what they believe has changed, other than obviously the fact that we have social media now in the industry, but maybe what's stayed the same since they started and what has changed within the industry since they started out and coming back into it and kind of reviving their careers a bit and what they've had to adapt to. That's quite an interesting point that we should dive into next time. Also, I obviously love the concept with motion MCR because as a person that loves multiple genres, I think that we shouldn't just tie ourselves down to one specific genre, and I think if you do like a multitude of genres, then there must be other people out there that like the same things. So I really like the community that Diligent's trying to build and bring together with Motion MCR. Obviously, if you're not already locked in to the new album, The War Within, get to know now. It's a 4-part series, which is incredible. I've listened to the album about 5 times since it got released, and it got released yesterday. And I listened to it about 3 or 4 times before it was released, because I had the privilege of listening to it before it was released. And I think it's just such an amazing body of work, and I'm really excited to see what the other parts will show. As always, thank you so much to Diligent Fingers for coming on the show today. It was really great to hear your insight and first returning guest as well. I love that. It's so nice, and he's had such lovely things to say about the progression of the podcast as well, which really meant a lot to me because he's always supported throughout, so I really appreciate that from you, Diligent. Big love. And yeah, guys, go check out the new album. Go keep up to date with what he's doing. He's doing so much for the community within Manchester, within the drum and bass scene, within the hip-hop scene, nationally and internationally. So if you're not locked in, just get to know. He's a man about Manchester, a man about the world. Thank you, loyal listeners, loyal viewers, wherever you're tuning in. I appreciate you always. We've only got 3 more episodes before we take a break from After the Applause, guys, which is crazy. We've got some big news to share in the final couple episodes as well. Very exciting things happening, but I can't tell you yet. I'm not allowed. If I've told you already, mind your business. I will see you all next week on After the Applause. Bye.